Howdy ho, you handsome hunk. Grab a snack and gain some chunk. If your day is great or really sunk, we hope to help you shake the funk. So if you're good to hear some junk, buckle up, it's the Junk Monk Podcast. Hello and welcome to the Junk Monk Podcast. I'm your host, Kandyce Sloane, who you know from Instagram at Hardens and Hardhats.
And I'm Noah, your co-host, who you know from Right Now.
If this is your first time listening, let us fill you in. We are watching and reviewing every episode of the USA hit TV show Monk right here each week.
We're going to do so while eating a little bit of junk. So I've got my junk food here, which is, I know it's going to sound weird, but it's called white trash. I'm pretty sure Kandyce has had it on the show.
Yeah, we have. And I have Lone Star Trash because we did our interview a few weeks ago with Emmy and Kane, and we were so excited that we literally did not put 1 ounce of food in our mouths. So I have the Lone Star Trash. It is open this time, so I will eat it. Also, you must know I've seen every episode of Monk. I'm a huge fan. Started watching in about 2007, and for the most part, watched it as it aired.
I've seen season 1 and those who've done on the show, and a few scattered here and there in different seasons.
So, if you're ready to start the show, Toby, take it away. Here's what happened.
Okay, so this is going to be different than our usual Here's What Happened because it's the season 5 wrap-up.
Yeah, which we have done season 4 wrap-up before.
We did, so this isn't anything, too crazy, but this is the season 5 wrap-up. We're going to pretty much recap everything in season 5 to show our ideology on season 5.
Yeah, so basically, like you said, we're going to structure it just like our other, wrap-up. Mm-hmm. And in our Here's What Happened section, we're going to talk about Monk's past, his relationships, and some other good stuff. And I won't spoil it all, so we'll go ahead and get started. First, we have Monk's catchphrases, right? Okay. That's what we've done in seasons 1, 2, 3, and 4. So this is the first time that is dropping off because there's not any new ones. Last season we talked about how he got his catchphrases in Little Monk. Mm-hmm. And so, yeah, that basically is gone now. But I did replace it with Monk's past. Oh, okay. Which we haven't talked about before. I feel like we actually did get into his past on, I think, a couple of episodes. Most of it is actually from the class reunion. But, I mean, that's his past.
Class of 81, baby.
Yeah, so I think that was his 25th year reunion of college. So. And he went to Berkeley, right? We learned first that Adrian actually sued the college because we see his little, I guess his name placard or something on the spit shield in the cafeteria. And I think Natalie asked, oh, why is your name on it? He's like, oh, I sued them until they put a spit shield in. So that was pretty funny.
Monk really wasn't himself, really. He was always the guy with Trudy.
Yeah, he thinks everybody was his friend, and he goes up to them, and it's like, oh, yeah, I was dating Trudy Ellison. And they're like, oh, Trudy, we love Trudy. You remember the one where she's so like, sad. What's that guy's name? Anthony. It's Adrian. No, that's not it. Yeah, it is. This is him. Nope, that's not it. Lady. He's right here. Of course, he's Captain Cool.
Oh, yeah. They met in the library whenever he was rearranging books and stuff.
Oh, yeah. And do you remember how he gets her number?
She wrote it on something, on his back.
Doesn't she give it to the other guy?
Uh-huh.
The other guy asks for her number. That's so good. And then he does his little twitchy back thing, and he's like, got it. Studley Monk there. Also, going off Captain Cool again, we see why he's named Captain Cool, which is because the spatula incident with said icebox. Oh. And so that's really sad.
Trudy and Monk said, I love you on the bench.
Yeah, that was so sweet. I think that's in the tag at the very end. They're on the stone bench that Natalie's like, why are you weed eating the entire, campus? And I'm like, oh, that's him and Trudy's bench. Oh, that's so sweet.
He just played hide as a kid because he had no friends. And that wasn't from the reunion. That was from, Mr. Monk is on the air when they're looking at the home videos, and Natalie's like, this is the saddest home videos I've ever seen.
And she gives him a hug. It is so sad. Oh. That's the worst. And then at the end of Mr. Monk is on the air, we see the wedding video of him and Trudy, which I think we've seen her before, but she had a nice 80s dress get up going on there, so that was cool. All right. I think that's all we learned about Monk's past. Also, please, if we forget something, just let us know. I mean, don't be hard on us. Like, well,
you idiots. You forgot this from Monk's past, and this from Monk's relationships, and this. Right. We're trying our best.
We're trying our best. We have to take notes and these at the same time, so it's kind of hard. Mm-hmm. But next is going to be Monk's relationships. So let's start with his family. Let's start with Monk's family specifically.
Who are we starting with? Monk's dad?
Sure, we can do that.
Okay, so he is now a truck driver.
Yeah, because Monk thought that he was a book writer for elementary textbooks or something like that. I think he said.
But he's actually a truck driver.
Yeah. We learned that his dad gave him this awful wave after he left them to go get Chinese food or something like that, right? Mm-hmm. And he gives him this just like salute wave because Monk says, "Don't wave like that. Don't do that." And then he does it. Oh, that makes me so mad.
Oh, yeah. And then after that, after his dad left, or for the first time, his mom never laughed again.
Yeah, that's so sad.
She never laughed.
We also realize why his dad left, right? Because Ambrose and Monk always thought that it was because of them. But his dad basically specifically told him, you got to stand by your man. And I guess he thought he was his own man, and so he was standing by himself or something.
Weird.
Some lame excuse. But yeah, there's that.
He's 68 years old now.
Yeah, so we kind of learn how old Monk would have to be, almost 50. So that means that his dad was like 18 or so when he had
Monk
him.
is 50?
He's close to it. He's like,
I thought he was like 45.
I want to say that in this season he's probably 48. So maybe his parents were like 20.
Yeah,
or so.
That makes sense.
But it does. Again, that's conjecture. But we're kind of given an estimate of how old his parents. If they weren't 30, there's no way they couldn't be 30.
They couldn't be.
So they're definitely in their early 20s. Let's see.
It for Monk's dad.
Yeah. So we did talk about his mom a little bit, but we did learn in Mr. Monk and the Big Game that when his mother was getting sick, she still supported him and went to all of his track meets.
Oh, yeah.
That was so sad. And he never got to win a trophy for her. That was terrible. That was so sad.
I mean, no, but she also, wasn't she always, like, mean to him because he didn't win a trophy, or?
Yeah, I don't know. I think that's what we were supposed to think previously, but that episode they made it seem like she was very supportive. That she cleared off the mantle in hopes that he would get a trophy, but I'm not sure that she actually like put any type of pressure.
That's kind of pressuring. Wrong.
That's true. That is true. Or that means that she believed in him that he would win a trophy.
I mean, it could go both ways.
It definitely could go both ways. Okay, let's talk about Monk's other brother.
Oh yeah, he dreams of being a putz. First of all,
Jack Jr., which at first we think he's a orthopedic surgeon from Baltimore or something, right?
Yeah.
And now he smokes pot, he steals money, and he lives in the basement. So there's Jack Jr.
It's like Jack Jr. dreams of being a putz. He smokes pot, steals money, and lives in my basement.
Oh, that's so funny. Okay, next we have the captain and his family dynamics. So we basically have him. They don't really mention Karen at all anymore.
Yeah.
But they do have a whole episode about him and his son.
Oh, yeah, which is really sweet. The rock concert. Mm-hmm. It's the captain and his son pretty much bonding the entire day. And we also, in another episode, meet a new lady.
Oh, yeah. That's in the romance. That's coming up.
Okay.
So... But we do see, like you said, in the rock concert, we see them, obviously, Jared does not like his dad. Mm-hmm. And you kind of get the hint of maybe he does appreciate what he's doing. And then he turns on him and he's really mean to him.
For no reason.
That was kind of random. But then at the end, he chooses his dad over Chris Ketter. His rock god. So weird. And then they take the sweet picture at the end in the photo booth. Uh-huh. And then we see... in the very next episode, meets his dad, where Stottlemyre says, I know of anybody you need to go take this opportunity to be with your dad. Mm-hmm. So we are expert detectives, and we tied those pieces together.
Exactly.
The writers didn't even know what they were doing. We came up with that all on our own.
Definitely.
Okay, and then family for Randy.
Oh, yeah, Randy, it is revealed that his family, or his uncle, owned a farm. Mm-hmm. So we see that in Mr. Monk goes on a farm?
Visits a
farm. So, yeah, that's really
We actually,
random,
you know what? We know that we discussed the plot hole of him not having an uncle before, and now he does. But we didn't mention that he says that his whole family was farmers for generations.
And he said that he, like, dissed all of them. He was like, we're all a bunch of losers, farmers.
He did.
Like,
Explain yourself, Randy. Explain yourself. That was very strange, honestly. And then the last one's going to be Natalie's family.
Yeah.
Which is basically her parents.
Again.
Right? We see them again. All is well. After the wedding. Which it should be. Because we saw her put Mitch's, picture on the piano. But all is well. And they, crash into the pate. And they lead us to solve the Sean Astin case.
They crash into the pate.
And then next we're going to have the romance. So,
oh my gosh, I'm ready.
Like you said.
Okay.
Stottie
and Linda. Let me enlighten you. So the first time Captain Sotomayor gets back into dating, she seems to be like a really good match, like right off the bat.
Yeah, she's kind of a hothead.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Him. They're pretty much made for each other. I like them.
Yeah.
I like them.
Yeah. But we also too see would be another Randy family aspect. He's got his cousin on that online dating.
Sonoma.
On the online dating. Sexy in Sonoma. So there's some more Randy family action for you. And I think that... Oh, no, we have Natalie romance.
Natalie's romance is out the wazoo this season. So we see her, obviously, with the leper, but then we also see her in the hospital. She's like, Monk, I have to go on a date. She's like, okay, I might stay with you. And then she waits a few seconds. She's like, okay, I gotta go.
Then she ends up ditching that guy. But the leper, that to me, that hospital guy was the death of the leper. Like,
yeah,
no more leper.
We wanted the leper to be
I know.
accepted.
And I liked Paul Blackthorne as the leper. He was really good.
Cool.
And she was macking out with him. Big time.
Oh, yeah.
Like, so, I don't... Big time. Well, I mean, because you said, Natalie dating action all over the place. It was like, I think it was more so that she was going at it with him in the car that you're like, oh my goodness, wow, oh goodness. But they were obviously setting up that he was a leper, which was great.
And she got to choose that, like, her actor got to choose. I always forget that.
Yeah.
She got to choose who she wanted to make out with.
Yeah, I like that too. Okay, the last thing is going to be friends, Mr. Monk's friends. So we have, the first one's kind of a small one, but in Mr. Monk Gets a New Shrink, we see some more Harold action.
Of course.
And kind of his dynamics with Dr. Kroger and how obsessed they both kind of are and not necessarily bonding, more of complete and utter foes, but we do see Harold in the end rescue Monk and Dr. Kroger, but rescue them from the kidnappers, and Harold takes a bullet for Dr. Kroger and then one-ups Monk. So I'm excited to see if that relationship goes any further as far as, him taking the bullet and how that kind of leaves him and Monk.
Yeah.
So
we have Hal, who isn't really Monk's friend, but Monk thinks that they were actually friends for some reason. I don't know why, but...
Well, Monk... He calls Monk odd, funny, and brilliant, and he's really sweet to him until he's just a total...
Yeah.
No.
Stick in the mud.
But I did like the insight that Monk gives to Dr. Kroger when he says, Trudy loved me, but Hal actually likes me. And again, that's really sad because we know that's not true, but just the way that Monk sees it. And then, of course, coming around, on the other side of it and realizing that he does have true friends and that hopefully we're led to believe that he thinks that Randy, Captain, and Natalie like him for him. Yeah. And hopefully that he feels that way about them now that he did about Hal. But who knows? They might hang out after he gets out of prison.
It was a very friendly episode. Like, you were like, oh, the gang sticks up for each other and this and that. And they do actually, like, now they're going to start hanging out together and it's not just going to be a work thing. And it's nice.
Yeah, agreed. Okay, that's all of Monk's relationships. So let's quickly go to Trudy's case because these are going to be the storylines that they try not to push because that would be the end of Monk.
Yes.
But the little tidbits that they sprinkle out. So do you want to get into Trudy's case a little bit?
Of course. We see more detailed images of Trudy's murder. Like, not very detailed, but in the actor, somehow, I'm pretty sure we were like, whenever we were rating it, I figured out why I didn't like the actor that much. Because it's like, how did the actor get his hands on this much Monk stuff?
He's creepy.
It's impossible.
Yeah, it is kind of weird. I don't know if it's in the same episode, but we do learn that she died on Giraldi Street. Because they mentioned that a few times since. And the big one at the end of this episode is that we learned that Trudy wanted Monk to go with her to the store. I think it was to pick Ambrose up some medicine. And so, again, a big plot hole, which we don't talk about plot holes in this wrap-up, but so I'll sprinkle them in, because I love them. But this plot hole is that how on earth did the actor know that?
Yeah.
Just like, how did he get those photos? How did he know that? And then, but Monk verifies it by saying, oh yeah, you're right. Like, she did want me to go with her. Like, what?
Makes no sense. It's for some reason he knows like a combination lock to like his gun safe.
Yeah.
How is that?
Okay. Well, that's Trudy's birthday. I probably could have guessed that. I think we all could have guessed that one.
But still, though.
Yeah.
Come on. Like, that's impossible. You can't just method act your way into knowing things.
Yeah.
That's
gotta be that's one of the biggest plot holes, I think.
Like, of the entire season, probably. It's just doesn't make sense. I don't know.
Do you want to do the last one?
Trudy waited 20 minutes in pain waiting for the paramedics to come, and that is revealed in Mr. Monk Can't See a Thing.
Yes, when he's arguing with the drifter, which we will get into a little later.
Also, in Trudy's case, we learn in On the Air that she was chopped up into a bunch of little Trudy pieces.
Which we don't learn that. We infer that from Max Hudson just blatantly saying it
so
on
rude.
The air. Yeah, that's messed up. Okay, our last thing is going to be the badge. Again, just some little tidbits sprinkled about and not really even, guys. Not really even.
Not even at all.
We learned that Mr. Monk is at your service. We learned in that episode about the hiring freeze, right? So he's really upset about that. He thinks he's going to be too old to be reinstated. He basically gives up on being a cop at all. He goes and takes his job as a butler. But Stottlemyre fights for him in the end, and the department does agree to exempt him from the hiring freeze, but
the whole thing is like around the hiring freeze, and it's like, oh, well, you're not going to do the hiring freeze, which is just, if you're going to exempt him from the hiring freeze, just hire him. Why would you just make him exempt from it instead of just hiring him?
Yeah.
It was an unneeded thing that didn't need to happen, and like, you didn't have to push the story forward by going, oh, there was a hiring freeze, and that you could have had anything, honestly, bring Monk down or something. Like, maybe you could have learned something about Trudy's case. Mm-hmm. You know?
Yep.
I don't know. It's just dumb.
So, yeah, basically, they do not renew his contract, and he does not get hired. And what was the point of all that? And then the last thing is he gets fired, and the really dead guy...
Yeah, I mean, but it's not that big of a deal.
It's not. But he accidentally sends the FBI to Julie's party, and then that guy fires him, and then Monk solves the case. So he gets rehired again. So it was just a little stint again. But again, nothing really big to do with the badge.
That's true.
All right, so I think we're done with that. So let's do
quick.
Yeah, and so instead of our likes and dislikes, we're gonna do our lows and highs of the season.
Of course.
Let's start with the lows because you gotta end it on a high note because these are too sad. Yeah.
So there's 3 of them. We're gonna go 3, 2, 1.
Do you want to start or do you want me to start? Which one?
You can start.
Okay, so let's do the number 3 low of this season.
Okay.
Okay, that's going to be in the actor. Just talked about it, but at the very end of the episode, this actor somehow knows whether it's true or not. Monk acknowledges that it's true, that Trudy wanted him to go with her to the store, and then of course she dies on that trip, and Monk realizes it's true, she did want me to go, it's true, and they're in that car dealership, and they're both dressed as Monk, and they're hugging each other and crying, and it is a little creepy, But, it's a pretty good low. It's definitely one of the crying moments and very sad. And yeah, so that's our number 3.
Number 2 low is literally the entire can't see a thing episode. While Monk is blind, he's just super depressed. Like, super depressed.
Yeah, he loses his sight. He gets a bucket of acid thrown in his face. Mm-hmm. And then again, we talked about he brings up all the things that are wrong with his life other than being blind. Even after he's excited to be blind, he goes back down because he can't make his way through the structure where he thinks he's going to fall off. Mm-hmm. He thinks Natalie's flying and all these things. And they're funny parts, obviously. But again, he comes from this high and goes back down into, look, the realization is I'm blind and that sucks.
Very sad.
Our number 1 low is Mr. Monk is on the air.
Yes.
Okay. Which you like this one.
Of course.
The sad movies. Mm-hmm. Terribly sad. They're at the picnic and they're basically social distancing.
The sad movie.
Like 40 years ago.
Yeah.
And you're like, they're a family. Why are they sitting 3 feet apart from each other on this picnic blanket? Sad. No one's smiling. No one's doing anything. And of course, this, not really to do with that, but then after that, Max Hudson is just this crazy, rude, crude guy who just goes to town on Trudy's death and how she was murdered and blown up and all this horrible things. And then Monk, we never really see him lose his cool, and he does in this one and jumps over the table and attacks him. And then...
Good for him.
Yeah, right? I know. We're like, oh, yeah, get him.
We're like, but Monk wouldn't do that? Oh my God!
Get him. Exactly. And then finally at the end, we see him actually crying over it. And yeah, and even, you know what? Even the low moment, I think, is when he gets this revenge on Max Hudson and walks up to him and says, "You're not laughing anymore, are you?"
Yeah.
He's like, "No, I'm not." And he's like, "Welcome to the club." Where he's not, he doesn't get this satisfaction where he does in like the other ones. Like even like think of the astronaut, you're like, oh yes. At the end of this one, it's still very like, yeah, Monk is sad.
Yeah.
Because this guy brought up all these things. And yeah, so I think that definitely deserves the top low spot. Because it's too much. It's too much. All right, let's do highs.
Okay, so number 3 high is going to have to be makes a friend. And although Monk doesn't like keep their friend for very long, he still makes a friend, which is, it's very cute. You see Monk happy for a while. Mm-hmm. And it does kind of suck because it's, happy for a while, but still.
Yep. We see them go to the hockey game. They have a great time at the hockey game. We see Monk wants to basically propose to Hal, and he's super giddy, excited about that, and asks Dr. Kroger, like, should I do it? Should I ask him?
Yeah.
Dr. Kroger's like, oh, I don't know. And then he ends up asking him, and Hal says yes, and then Monk's happy again, and then he gets giddy for Hal to call him on the phone. Mm-hmm. And he, does his little schoolgirl where he puts his legs up on the couch and stuff. I love that. It's so cute. So, yeah, that was, again, short-lived, but definitely a very, very high point in Mr. Monk's season 5.
Yeah.
And then number 2, we have Proud Coach Monk in The Big Game.
Yes, we do.
Where he's having the time of his life. He's Coach Monk. He wants to be called, he doesn't even care about being called detective or Mr. He's like, call me coach. And he carries that whistle around. And of course, his backup whistle.
Of course.
Goes around whistling it up. And yeah, he doesn't know anything about basketball. And he doesn't really ever end up even learning anything about basketball. And unfortunately, he does lose the big game in the end. Mm-hmm. But he gets his trophies because Natalie and Julie are so sweet. Yes. And they give him 100. I think they said he solved, which I didn't write that down, but he solved 104 cases or something so far. Yeah. But they rounded it down to 100. And he gets all his trophies on his mantle like his mom always wanted. And
it's really cute.
It's so cute. And that's a good high, I think.
It is a good high.
But not as high as
Mr. Monk meets his dad. Okay, so this was just like ultra sweet. Very wholesome moment. It's when, at the very end, Monk is being taught by his dad how to ride a bike, and it's really, really, really sweet.
Yeah. We also, that is definitely, I love the bell. Give me the bell, give me the bell. And he's like, bing, 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 bing. But we also see other sweet moments in that episode too, where his dad is like telling him to eat his carrots. Besides the bike, we see him reunited with his dad. But that bike part was epic.
Yeah, that was really
so
sweet.
Cute. All right. Epic. That's
all of our highs and lows, ladies and gentlemen.
All right. So let's move on to
He's the Guy. Okay, so we're going to take our favorite He's the Guy that we've had over the whole season, and we're also going to have an honorable mention, so our two favorite He's the Guys, basically.
All right, so start with your honorable mention, then.
My honorable mention is David DeLuise. He plays the dad from Wizards of Waverly Place. But in Monk, he plays the mayor's super creepy assistant.
Yes, so we thought he was going to be the guy.
Yeah, he was super creepy.
They should have showed him more. And they should have made him the guy. That would have been nice.
Yeah, they could have baited him a little bit more.
Yeah, I think that's a good one. Okay, my honorable mention is going to go to, wait for it.
I'm waiting.
Emily J. and Emily C. from The Big Game. So we had, because I knew both of these ladies from other shows. We had Emily J. was played by Molly McCook, who is Mandy in The Last Man Standing, right? Mm-hmm. And then we have Emily C., who's played by Haley Chase, who is in Hannah Montana as one of the mean girls. And I liked it because I love The Big Game, right? Because of the basketball and Coach Monk and all of that, but the camaraderie between the girls, they're so cute. I remember me mentioning, these girls are smart and they come together and they solve this case. And I really like that. And then to top it off, we learned that in our interview, Emmy said that this was one of her favorite episodes and that she got really close to a lot of the girls that she was friends with for a few years, after that show. And so that just made me think like, you know what? That probably came out in that episode, and it's probably one of the reasons that I like it so much.
Yeah.
It's not just Julie with, like, by herself, or her friends are just, like, a bunch of nobody, like, background characters that you don't know. It's like, she has her friend Emily, and they're going around with her, and that's so fun. And I think it shows that we're actually friends, so.
Yeah, it's a good little thing, okay? So, now it's time for the big reveal.
Yeah.
So, drum roll, please. I'm about to share my He's the Guy, my favorite He's the Guy, everyone. Obviously, Sheriff Butterfield. I'm sorry, this wasn't much of a reveal. She is the best He's the Guy, like, ever. She's amazing.
She is.
She's so cute with Monk. They do the little square dance thing. It's so cute.
Sheriff McFlirty.
Sheriff McFlirty.
Love it.
Beautiful.
All right, my favorite He's the Guy is obviously, of course, Sean Astin from Mr. Monk is at your service. I love him. Master Buchanan. Sam Wise. I love his performance. He's a great creep. I love his, my heart. I love it. Mm-hmm. Noah hates it, but I love it. I love it.
Terrible.
He's such a good impressionist of his dad.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, my heart. I love it.
Oh, it's almost as if my heart was attacking me. Oh no.
Okay, Sean Astin, he's my fave. So
what's it called? I don't know why, but Sean Astin reminds me of the guy from Psych. He looks like him, right?
Sean Spencer? The main guy?
He looks like him, right?
I guess kind of, a little bit. I never thought of that, but yeah.
They're making a Psych too.
I know, like a movie, right?
On Peacock, right?
Oh, is it?
I think it's on Peacock.
Oh, that makes sense, probably.
It's really...
Yeah.
I don't know, it looks...
I don't have no clue. I
saw one trailer.
No, I don't know. I would think that it's gonna be good. If you're already a Psych fan, you're gonna love it. I
just wanted to talk about it since pretty much every Monk fan is also a Psych fan.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
Well, I mean, besides you, apparently.
Well, yeah, I know. I don't know. Yeah, I think you're right. There are most people. I'd say probably 70%. I would say
are also Psych. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Speaking of the people out there, let's move into Junk Time.
Okay, welcome back to my favorite time of the year of the show, where Kandyce does weird things on her phone while I eat food.
Yes.
Kandyce is trying to pull up her social media update right now.
Yeah, that is true. Social media update. Let me also get some trash because I promised you guys. Let's do a little. All right. As previously mentioned in our season 4 wrap up, on Instagram every Thursday, we have a Here's the Thing Thursday, and I ask you guys a question that pertains to the show. I try to do the same question as I give to Noah, but sometimes those are too lengthy, so I kind of come up with a different one. So let's start off with a would you rather question from the very beginning of the season. Would you rather be Monk's assistant during the garbage strike or this pandemic? I want to say we both chose the pandemic.
Yes.
But 55% said garbage strike.
Really?
Yeah. So it was actually pretty
Crazy.
close. Not too far off.
Yeah.
Next, we asked, what is your favorite sport? Like Mr. Monk in the Big Game. We got some interesting ones. I like this one. We got basketball. Okay. We got roller derby.
Really?
Cricket. Tennis. Hockey. And my favorite one was probably not a sport, but cornhole.
Aw. Cornhole's fun. Underrated.
All right. Mr. Monk in the Private Eye. I asked, do you know how to swim? 94% said, duh.
Uh-huh.
And so there's still 6% out there. No shame. No shame. And then I asked, were you taught how to swim? 81% said they were taught how to swim. 19% said, I'm a natural.
Really?
Mr. Monk gets a new shrink. Would you take a bullet for someone? 85% said depends who. Right?
That's true.
15% said probably not at all.
Wow.
And then if you were in Harold's shoes, would you have taken the bullet for Dr. K? 33% said probably. 67% said no way.
I mean, but the thing with that question is Harold's kind of crazy.
Yeah. So not necessarily if you were actually Harold, because we know that answer, but if you were in Harold's shoes, and that was your doctor, 67% of you said, bye-bye, Dr. K. Okay, I like this one. This is from Mr. Monk and the Leper. Which version do you like best? Black and white or color?
Oh.
A whopping 76% said color.
Really?
Yeah. So
I don't know. It felt off watching the color version. Because you could tell it was, I don't know. That's just nitpicky, I guess.
Yeah. What was your first episode of Monk? Because Mr. Monk at your service was mine. So a lot of people said that they didn't remember because it was too long ago. We have a Mr. Monk Goes to the Circus, which is in season 2. We have Mr. Monk Gets Stuck in Traffic, which is season 3. Mr. Monk and Little Monk, which was last season. And Mr. Monk and the Candidate Part 1. So that someone was an OG from the pilot.
Wow.
I like that. I asked for your best, worst joke.
Okay.
Right? A bad dad joke. Someone said, do you want to hear a dirty joke? A pig fell in the mud. Simple, classic. Okay, what do you call an alligator in a vest?
Investigator? Yeah, we said that. We said that on the show.
We did?
Uh-huh. I think I said it.
I don't remember that.
Geez, you don't even remember my jokes.
Oh, and then the last one was, what does Adrian use to unlock a door?
I don't know.
A monk key.
I don't like it.
I thought that was funny.
I don't like it.
Oh.
That's a good one. No, that's good. It outsmarted me. That's why I don't like it.
Okay, so that was our last one for the Here's the Thing Thursdays. Next, I'm going to go through our trivia questions. Okay, so every Tuesday is Monk Trivia Tuesday. So I'm going to re-ask the questions that stumped you guys the most.
Of course.
So, a lot of them are pretty easy. Everyone answered the correct answer for the most part. But there's some where y'all just got them flat out wrong. So, this first one, only 2 people got it right. And a bunch of people answered, and 2 people got it right. Okay, Mr. Monk in the Garbage Strike, because I'm going to ask you, right? Because I made the questions up. So, in Mr. Monk in the Garbage Strike, who does Monk try to mail his garbage to?
Natalie. That's easy.
That is incorrect.
What?
Okay, there's answer choices.
No way.
Dr. Kroger, Natalie, Harold Crenshaw, or the delivery man.
It's Dr. Kroger. Oh, no, the delivery man.
It's the delivery man, yeah. Because
that was hard.
Because he asks, wait, where do you live? And the guy's like, yeah, no, I'm not giving you my address.
I thought it was Natalie.
We said it would be funny, I think, if he mailed it to Natalie, but he didn't.
What?
He actually mailed it to Dr. Kroger. Okay, where does Monk finally get a clear head in the garbage strike?
Okay, so tell me the answers.
Fabrication room, soundproof booth, a safe room, nuclear power plant.
Fabrication room.
That's correct. A lot of people, I guess, didn't know it was a fabrication room. I thought this one was fair. Why does Natalie get the idea to start the PI business in the private eye? She needs the money. She was inspired by her grandpa. Mr. Monk was feeling inadequate. Or she wants Julie to be proud of her.
Her grandpa inspired her.
That is correct.
That or the money. It was that or the money.
Yeah, that's what most people said, the money.
Natalie's a very greedy woman. Now that I think about it.
Okay, this one's a good one. In the rock concert, what piece of evidence does the rocker destroy?
The letter.
Yes.
Easy.
Most people said the beach ball.
What?
That's the evidence that seals the case. That he didn't destroy that one.
Way. I'm sure if you read them out, I probably would have thought of the beach ball. I don't know.
Okay, this one's very similar. In Mr. Monk Meets His Dad, what is the clue that seals the criminal's fate?
The tie.
Yes, the tie. Most people said it was the GPS. But the GPS did not seal his fate.
These are hard questions.
Because the GPS erased, though.
Yeah. These are hard. No wonder they got these wrong. These are hard, Kandyce.
Okay, and Mr. Monk makes a friend. Which activity do Monk and his new pal not do together? Go to a hockey game, polish rocks, watch Sonny Chow movies, or collect stamps?
Collect stamps.
That is correct.
Easy.
Most people said it was watch Sonny Chow movies.
What?
But they were totally watching Sonny Chow.
They were geeking out, too.
Okay, this one, I will admit this one is hard. Okay.
Okay.
Why does Monk first take the job as the butler? He's upset about the hiring freeze, to scope out the murderer's house, Natalie tells him to, or he accidentally gives a good interview.
Well, that's really hard.
Why does Monk first...
There's 3 of them.
Why does Monk first take the job as the butler?
Oh, Natalie tells him to. Or to scope out... Because Natalie tells him to.
Why does he first take the job as the butler?
Oh.
Why does he first take the job?
He's upset at the hiring freeze.
No.
What?
I obviously made up these questions, so you can tell me if I'm wrong. But why does he first take the job as the butler?
What?
He doesn't know that he's even interviewing for the job, but he gets the job. That's why he first takes the job.
Because he had a good interview.
He has a good interview, and he says, "You got the job," and he's like, "Okay." Then he goes upstairs to call Natalie. I got the job as a butler, and you need to come pick me up. So most people said it was to scope out the murderer's house, but that's not why he accepted the job. That's just why he went inside the house. But that's not why if he went in there to scope the murderer's house, he wouldn't have called Natalie to come pick him up.
That's a trick question, Kandyce.
Now, I said it was hard, but
And that was hard.
I said it was hard.
Come on, Kandyce. You better not be pulling any more of these stunts on Instagram. You're lucky I don't on Instagram, or else I would be.
Okay, last one.
Last one?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mr. Monk is on the air. Which personality is Natalie excited to see?
Okay.
Air quotes. Excited to see.
Oh! The guy... No, just tell me. Give me the answer.
It's too easy. It's too easy if I tell you the answers. You can't think of it? She's like, oh my gosh, do you think
It's...
won't be here? Would you introduce us?
He's like a dude who can, do, something with his snot or something. Right?
For close. It's not snot, though. Okay, most people said it was Little Willie.
No way.
It's not. The other answer choices were Big Mike, Monster Maven, and...
That's the last one.
The Burpinator.
The Burpinator!
I knew that would be too easy if I said that.
Randy's like, oh, the Burpinator's here. Natalie's like, the Burpinator? Really? Do you think you can introduce me? So bad.
Yeah. So, I've got one more thing for junk time.
Better be something big, Kandyce.
Okay. So, for those who do not know, we have an email address. junkmonkpodcast@gmail.com. So, if you want to, talk with us in depth about anything, email is a really good way to do that. So, a while back, I got an email from a Shirley Baker who was telling me that she lives in Wisconsin
Okay.
And that her window guy is Tony Shalhoub's brother.
Really?
Yes, because, he's from Wisconsin, right? Of course. So she's met him a few times and talked to him and, said, I love, your brother's show. And one day I really hope to make a list, like a comprehensive list of all my favorite episodes, like in order. Mm-hmm. And he said, well, I would love to see it when you're done. And so she was like, oh, really? So during the quarantine, she got on it and made her whole list in order of favorite episodes. And so we've also, she listens to our show also and will email me and say, well, first she's the one that was like, oh, Noah is so intelligent and smart and I can't believe that that's him. And that
really?
Yeah. So she's super sweet. She's a very sweet lady.
Thank you.
So she emailed us her list, which this is actually the list she sent to the brother. So it actually has annotations on it. Like directed towards him, which I won't read any of those. But if anybody else would like to be featured in this way, like I said, we have an email. Send us your list of your favorite episodes, and maybe yours will get featured. So I actually love this because you're gonna hear our countdown right in a few minutes, and it's just very interesting to see everyone's different opinions.
Yeah.
Right. You like this episode. I like, especially ours, since it's combined. Mm-hmm. It's not actually our true list individually, but it's our joint list, which is also, a cool thing within itself.
Of course.
So this is her season 5 list, right? So you can kind of compare it to ours and think about it as I go. So number 16, goes to the hospital. 15, visits a farm. 14, on the air. 13, meets his dad. 12, the leper. 11, rock concert. 10, gets a new shrink. 9, makes a new friend. 8, private eye. 7, class reunion. 6, big game. 5, really dead guy. 4, at your service. 3, garbage strike. 2, actor. 1, can't see a thing.
Really?
Yeah. So just reading that, again, you guys haven't heard our list yet, but it's definitely different. Like, definitely different.
I'm excited.
So, yeah. So let's... thank you, Shirley, for all your sweet emails. Keep them coming. Love chatting with you. And if anybody else wants to dig deep into Monk, send us your stuff. And you might hear yourself on the podcast like this.
That's actually a pretty good list, to be honest.
Yeah, I think so.
Like a really good one.
Yeah, I think so, too.
Better than ours, Kandyce. You score weird. I try to tank them if I don't like them, but you score very weird.
Okay, all right. So let's move on and get to our next segment. How crazy was Monk this season? Okay, here we go. All right. So how crazy was Monk this season? Let's start off with his phobias.
Okay.
That's a good one.
That is a good one. Okay, so on his list of phobias, apparently risks are number 6, which we've never seen before because we've had the full top 10. And risks, nowhere near top 10.
Yeah, that's true.
So... plot hole.
Yep, that's another big one.
What a big boy plotty.
Okay, he is scared of the water.
He is.
Right? Although he can swim thanks to his correspondence school, but he does not like to swim. He hates the water.
He's afraid of swimming and boats because the entire time he was on the boat, he was very terrified.
Yeah, he doesn't want to get on the boat. When it's on the dock, like when it's docked. And then it floats away, and then he has to jump off the boat. So it was good for him, but yeah, he definitely didn't like that.
Yeah.
Also, he does not like asymmetry. And how do we learn this?
It's so mean.
Well, his
new shrink is missing an arm, and Punk's weirded out, and it's so mean.
It's like, and tell me about your late wife, Trudy. She was very symmetrical.
So mean.
Also, in the shrink, we learned that he is developing a fear of blankets.
Of course he is. Also, in the shrink, golly, there's a lot of shrink. Monk and Kruger are thrown into the back of a truck. And Monk's like, can you move us? And the guy's like, what? Why? And Dr. Kroger explains it to him. He's like, he has situational disorder, and like, if the chairs aren't even, or if this isn't even, or blah, 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 everything's going to be messed up for him.
Yeah, he needs to be on the same side that they're in when they do their sessions. So
of course.
And the guy's like, does not care. Next in Mr. Monk is at your service, we see that he is afraid of possums,
Soccer riots.
frogs.
Hailstones.
In that order.
In that order, of course. Because why wouldn't it be?
And the last one, everyone's kind of afraid of this, but tumors, right?
Yes.
Basketball-sized tumors. That's pretty scary.
Yeah, that is very scary.
But nosebleed leading to basketball-sized tumors, maybe not.
I don't know.
Maybe
Yeah.
not. I don't know. Probably, actually. Probably.
There's a tumor in my brain. It's the size of a basketball.
That's pretty good.
Too good.
All right, so that was it for his phobias. Let's go to his eccentricities. So not necessarily phobias, but just things we learned that he does. His little quirks.
His little quirkies.
How he uses his hands in The Actor, right?
Yes.
Because the guy's trying to shadow him, and he's like, what is this thing that you do with your hands? And he holds his hands up, and he says, you just look between your fingers, and you let your mind go blank, and then you let the room wash over you, and then you look for any connections or inconsistencies. So, also in The Actor, we learned that he loves the number 100.
Of course.
Because he washes his hands 100 times a day.
He's allergic to tetracycline.
Yeah, we learned that in the hospital.
Which is non-existent.
Wait, I thought we discovered it was real. It is real.
Discovered it was...
I think we said that it was real, but that tetracycline was used to, like, treat something that was not what he needed.
Oh, it was like acne or something.
Yeah, it was something like that. Yeah. So it was real, but yeah.
Yeah.
We can't figure out which episode this was from, but I wrote that he can't do fractions. If anybody remembers, let me know.
Why can't he do fractions?
Yeah, I can't think of what it was from. But anyway.
Okay, so he doesn't... He knows what a mouse is. He's like, what am I, stupid, Julie? I know what a mouse is. What the heck is a mouse pad?
She's like, this is a mouse pad. He's like, really? It's outstanding. In the garbage strike, he uses his hand towels only one time before he puts them in the wash.
Oh, yes. He irons his shoelaces, as we see in the big game.
Yes, that is so funny. Oh, he also has a backup shoelace.
Oh, yeah.
I forgot about that. He has a backup, and he irons that one too. And he's never won a trophy, which in itself, that's not really, it's not crazy or anything, but it's just sad that he's never won a trophy.
He keeps his swimming card in his jacket.
Yes, his little correspondence that tells him
that he can swim.
What does it say? Like, float or something?
So
Move
dumb.
your arms, breathe, remain calm. It's something so basic.
It's so dumb.
It's funny. He buys 10 eggs at a time. We see that in Makes a Friend.
I will... Wouldn't that make Monk mad?
What, the 10 eggs?
Cartons are come in 12s.
Yeah.
So we'd have to take out 2 eggs. Which 12 wouldn't even be that bad.
Where does he put the
I
2
don't know.
eggs in the store?
It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense.
We're coming with
Come on.
holes here.
Come
What's
on.
happening?
What do you...
Also, he uses bubble wrap to protect his produce, right?
Oh, he does.
His apples.
His apples,
protected.
yes. Of course. Which actually turns out to be pretty helpful. He used to sneak out to go to rock shows. Not rock concerts. Rock shows of literal rocks. Not what you think.
Monk is such a bad boy. Also, in The Actor, we learned that he uses a ruler to measure out the yolks. Because we learned this whenever he gets kicked out of his own apartment, and Monk is like, oh, he even makes the eggs the way that I like them, with a ruler to make them exactly centered.
Aw. When Monk goes blind, he's like, of course, yes, I've been counting stairs my whole life. Because obviously you wouldn't be like... I mean, some people probably know how many stairs they have. So if they go blind, it's like, oh, I have 20 stairs.
Yeah.
Waddle, 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 waddle. But
It's like, sweetheart, I've been counting these stairs my whole life. And my last thing is that he grieves very quickly. Which
He does?
His five stages of grief. Yeah.
we'll talk about that later.
Yeah.
Oh, he has a strange, not very useful superpower, which is he can read handwriting off of his back. Like if anyone draws something on his back, like, oh, can you sign my autograph? He now has like tons of people's autographs on his back.
I love
Which is super
Natalie.
creepy.
What a really strange, not very useful superpower. That's funny. I think, let's see. So basically all we have left, we've gone over his phobias, his eccentricities, and now we're on to our personal choice top crazy moment.
Okay.
So, do you want to go first? You want me to go first? Which one do you want?
You can go first.
All right, I'll go first then.
Okay.
All right, my top crazy moment has got to be the Alice Cooper antique wingback Cusack chair summation. Okay, that is obviously in the garbage strike. That is crazy. Monk has obviously gone so far off the deep end. He's lost it. And he sees a picture, I guess he sees a picture on a telephone pole of Alice Cooper in a concert or a chair or something. I don't even know where he comes up with it, but the gang shows up and is like, Monk, what is wrong with you? And he's taking one bag at a time, one truck at a time. And he says, I figured it out. It's Alice Cooper. He did it. He wanted to kill him for the antique wingback Cusack chair. And he said that he was consumed with envy. He had to possess the fairest antique wingback Cusack chair in the land. And he's like, what kind of hippie is he? Or he's a hippie who goes around punching people for their chairs and then shooting them in the head. And then Randy, of course, asks, wait, why did he not take the chair? And he's like, well, it had a bullet hole in it. It had blood all over it. He didn't want it anymore. It's like, okay. And then the captain, smartly says, all right, Randy, knock it off. We're not going to keep talking about this theory. So, yeah, but that is pretty crazy.
Yeah.
Like, just the fact that Alice Cooper came on the show at all to do the summation is crazy. But it's like, Monk he was far, far gone. So that's definitely my top crazy moment.
I've got to give my top crazy moment too. Toby. The 5 stages of grief. Oh,
That is
it's
classic.
It's just a classic, hilarious Monk moment. You can't miss it. It's hilarious. It is in Mr. Monk Gets a New Shrink. Dr. Kroger is retiring. Monk's sad. He's distraught. So he starts to go through the 5 stages of grief. And we've done it on the show, but I'll do it again. He's like, he can't retire. There's no way. He can't do it. He's not a quitter. He can't retire. And then he gets angry, because next is anger, duh. He's like, I hate you! I hate you! You're leaving me, I hate you! And then he runs out of the room. And the next is bargaining. He's like, okay, come on. We're all adults here. I can go to your house. It'll be fine. Next is depression. He's like, why do they always have to leave me? It's always me. And then next, he's like, actually, you know what? Dr. Kroger made me realize something about myself. You've helped me get through this. Thank you.
Thank God that's over.
Thank God that's over. And then he's walking down the hallway. He's like, he can't quit. Are you kidding me? He can't quit. He's not a quitter. And he walks. He's like, wait, I don't know what's happening. It's like he's going through it again. And Monk from the other room bangs on the window, and he's like, I hate you.
The blinds.
And then he goes back to bargaining. You can come to my house, or I can come to your house. It's fine. It's fine.
Dr. Kroger checks his watch. He's like, I gotta be going now. I don't know how long this is gonna last.
It's just a classic moment.
It is so good.
You can't miss it. It's amazing.
It is so good. 5 stages of grief. That's a great. These are both really good. Alice Cooper, Stages of Grief. We got it. That was perfect. All right. Let's go to our last and final segment.
Rate this season. Okay, guys. We're rating this season.
All right. So again, we don't really rate the season. We do our countdown.
Guys, we're rating this season. We're doing our countdown. It's gonna be epic though. It's still gonna be epic.
Okay. So just like Shirley Baker, we're gonna start with number 16. Goes to the hospital.
Of course.
Right. So
I mean, it's not great. It's not terrible.
It's a finale. Okay. High hopes for a finale.
Yeah, just because it's the finale, basically.
Yeah, I think it was a pretty lackluster finale. We had Bulldog from Frasier on there, and he was not funny. He was just a bad guy and not super enjoyable character. I wish they would have given him a funny thing, and yeah. But we do have a good Randy theory.
So, yeah. So, Goes to the Hospital is, once again, the finale for our rating.
Yeah. And this is our last shot of pregnant Natalie.
Yes.
Yeah.
It is. Yeah.
All right. Number 15.
Mr. Monk goes to a rock concert. So, it's, once again, not great. Not terrible. It's just that the crime was kind of boring.
It was slow. I think it was slow. It wasn't super funny
wasn't
either.
Super funny. It didn't really make sense.
It wasn't.
Like, why would he burn it on stage? That doesn't...
We had the envelope dance.
Like the envelope dance.
I put that on Instagram. Go check it out. This envelope dance. It's pretty funny. Yeah. I enjoy it more for just it being hilarious than anything. But it did give us the nice beach ball chase. Yes. Which was fun.
That was fun. I did like that.
Yeah. It was kind of suspenseful. And then, of course, we have Stottlemyre and Jared.
Of course.
Getting together in the end, and it's really sweet. Yeah, so that's number 15, rock concert. So number 14 is Mr. Monk, Private Eye.
Yep. I don't know why this is so boring. These ones aren't very good.
They're
Once we get into like top 10, that's the good territory.
Yeah. Oh, did we even preface? I think, did we say it in the beginning of the episode? So basically, what we did is we're terrible hosts. We did not even announce this.
Heck are we doing?
Just started getting into our countdown. Okay. Act like this was a couple minutes ago. Okay. So what we did to get this countdown was we took our ratings that we give each episode at the end, right? Noah gives a normal scale. I give a monkified scale where my lowest score is a 10 and I give it a 10 point whatever, right?
Yeah.
Noah converts it for you. So I used Noah's conversion chart to make our countdown. So what I did was I added up, say Goes to the Hospital. Noah rated it a 3.5.
Terrible.
I rated it a 5. So it ended up being
8.5 in total.
Yeah, that's correct. So I added the two up. I took the average, which is 4.25.
Yes.
And that made it at the bottom of the list. So I did that with every single episode. I averaged all of our scores, and that is how we get your ranking system. All right.
It's pretty confusing, but not really.
If you've been listening, it shouldn't be, because you're like, oh yeah, they rated that pretty low, so that makes sense. Yeah. But with that being said, like I said, it's not our personal list; it's our joint list of scoring over the past 16 weeks. So if it's a little like, really, they rated that episode above that episode, we didn't cheat and rearrange things. We left it as is, and then maybe down the line we will have a more comprehensive idea of like, you know what, this one was better. So don't hold us to it, but this is how we rated it for the entirety of this season 5. Does that make sense, guys? Okay, all right, let's continue into the future. We're talking about number 14, Private Eye. Okay. I think it was the crime it was the fender bender. It was just okay. That's basically the whole...
I feel like this list is weird because Private Eye is a little better than 14. At least 11th probably.
Well, this was one of my least favorites. You liked it better than I did. So this was my opinion. I didn't like the fender bender. I thought it was just okay. I did like Linda, but not the fender bender and then the crime where the guy just throws the girl over the boat and then the yellow flip-flop. It wasn't my favorite. It just wasn't a lot of action. And Stottlemyre's the one that basically solves the case. Monk really doesn't, which is good for him, but it wasn't that difficult of a case. So, but I will say we had Leap and Annette will appear, right? We had Grandpa Neville,
of course,
and then like I said, we had Captain Leland Stottlemyre, who picks up Linda Fusco with his elephant joke, and so that was what I liked about it. So
it was pretty good.
That was number 14.
Number 13, Mr. Monk visits a farm. So,
I liked this one. I like this one better than Private Eye.
I think Private Eye shows a little bit more like teamwork with the whole gang. The whole gang's there.
That is true.
Visits the farm is just Randy and Monk.
That is very true. But we got Brooke Adams.
But we also did get Nadine and Brooke Adams.
They did.
They did.
That is true. I think my downfalls for this one was the plot convenience of oh, Randy makes a mistake. Randy quits. Randy also happens to inherit a farm from an uncle he never actually had before. That is probably the worst part of it for me, which isn't terrible, just another forced line. And then, of course, Randy just quitting in general from being, quote, an idiot. That's sad.
Yeah, that is sad.
But like I said, Brooke Adams is in this one. And then Senior Monk. He's a big part of this one.
Senior Monk.
He fakes his Spanish, gets his way through the chicken coops and all of that. And then he makes the giant list of Bambalachi, Old Alibaba, Kentucky Blue,
good.
Devil's Parsley, Side Salad, Splim Splat Splop,
Splim Splat Splam or something.
Rooster or Mooster, and I ran out. But there's a lot more where that came from. So go check that out. Yeah, that's Mr. Monk Visits a Farm. I liked it. Nadine, she's good.
Nadine is good.
Number 12 is The Really, Really Dead Guy.
Really? Mm-hmm. The Really, Really Dead Guy placed above literally everything there?
Mm-hmm. Let me.
I do not like that. I do not like that at all.
Yeah, we both rated this one a 7.
Way.
So that's how it ended up there. But it's okay. So let's talk about what we didn't like about it.
I don't want this
real
up
quick.
here. I don't want it, Kandyce.
Well, we're still at the bottom too, so it's
Can
like
we switch it? I want to switch it.
We can't switch. The list is made. The
list needs to be switched. I'm sorry.
Okay, so but what we didn't like about it was what? It was over the top. Like
Over the top, very cheesy, very...
The tech stuff was too much. And Agent Thorpe contributed to that, I think.
Yeah.
He was super angry.
Character.
Yeah. Walk away. Walk away. Put that down. No. Keep walking. Don't turn around. Don't turn around. It's like, who talks like that?
No.
Calm yourself. My goodness.
Calm yourself.
It's like someone should have just been like, yeah, but you just sound like an idiot. Like, stop talking to people like that.
And he looks like Blade. It's just like...
Which completely tanks it for me.
The character design... Who was like, let's make him look like Blade, guys. That'll look awesome.
All their, like, trench coats, like, leather. Their big van. What was I watching yesterday that was like... Oh, I watched Twister. And they had the inside of their weather van. That's what it looked like. It was like, oh, look, it's the Really, Really Dead Guy van.
This is $500 million.
Yeah. So, but we do get to see Monk meeting technology, which is really cute. He gets his first email account.
Is cute.
His Mr. Monk, and then his password is Trudy.
Oh.
Mr. Monk, think of a better password. Everyone will guess that.
No.
Okay, Trudy it is. That's so sweet. And then Stottlemyre standing up for Monk again in the end, and he throws the phone at the guy, and he falls over, which is the plot hole. No one falls over from the cell phone. But
I know.
It still is a good
Stottlemyre.
No,
cell phone.
Look, one of your gadgets got the bad guy. That's a great line, though. Okay, next one.
Number 11, Mr. Monk and the Leper. So, number 12 and number 11, we actually had a choice between, which one's better. So, obviously, the Leper won. Because the Leper, in my opinion, is way, way, way better than the Really, Really Dead Guy.
Yeah, I would say my biggest downfall for this episode would be the mistakes. Right, like I said before, I remembered the mistakes in the episode, like the continuity errors of like the brick wall.
The stunt people are just absolutely terrible.
Yeah, and they're very obvious stunt people, and yeah, that's probably the most thing. And then the I say it's like too theatrical, which we do know that it was supposed to be like that, but for me, it was the hot air balloon is what kind of was like.
Why?
It took me out of that film noir like thing that they were going for. It was like, hot air balloon? Where's this criminal assassin get a hot air balloon?
Yeah.
It was just a little it's like out of times or out of touch. That's what I didn't like about it. But other than that, I mean, it's not a bad episode.
It's not terrible.
It's not a bad episode. I just think the mistakes stand out more than the storyline to me. But we had a really fun time making the film noir episode.
That is true.
Yeah, that was super fun. And then Monk's aversion to the leper is just like Monk even says himself, what is worse that could happen to me? I've literally lived through the absolute worst thing of my life. So yeah, I think everything where he tries to light his hand on fire and lights him up with the kerosene and everything I feel like that's a good, that's not too shabby. Not terrible.
Number 10. Mr. Monk is at your service.
Okay, if any episode needs to move up, it's this
What?
boy right here.
Are you kidding?
Yes. Which, I mean, I will say that the episodes that we have next, they're pretty good as well. I could switch it for a couple.
I could switch
it for a couple.
We
But
could switch really, really dead guy and visits a farm. I feel like that makes sense. They're only like one up and down.
Yeah.
13 with 12. Because there's
But your
no
problem
way.
was with Private Eye. You wanted Private Eye to be up.
Yeah, maybe, yeah.
I think Mr. Monk is at your service should be up. Shirley had Mr. Monk is at your service as her number 4 episode. So
Wow, that says a lot.
So see, I'm not the only one who thinks it was a great episode. So I'm not alone in that. Of course, I have nothing bad to say about this. My only complaint about this episode is that it was too short. We needed more Natalie. Yeah. I think we needed more pregnant Natalie and Sean Astin communications, action, whatever you want to call it. But I love this episode. Mr. Melville, amazing. Pregnant Natalie scheme, amazing. And of course, my favorite guest star, Sean Astin, amazing. That's it. I love it. I love meticulous Mr. Melville, the Monk Way, pointers, the 4 zones, the Buddhist monks and their dusting. It's all good. I love it. It's all good.
It's yeah, we could move it up.
We'll
Candace,
move it up.
Why can't we move things up? Come on.
Because we have to learn. We have to get better. We have to get better as the show progresses.
I guess that makes sense.
So next season, we'll try to learn our lesson again and put things where they should rightfully go.
Yeah.
We'll do it. We'll do it. Okay.
Jeez Louise. I mean, I guess, yeah, we're learning a lesson. That makes sense. Okay. Number 9, Mr. Monk cannot see a thing. Mr. Monk is blind and he's depressed.
It is sad, but again, I think this is a great episode. I don't really know why we wouldn't like it. I mean, we're getting into our top episodes.
We're top 10 now.
This is top 10. So not the top half just yet, but this was a tie between our next episode that we'll tell you in a second. But in this one, we got the blind stick. Captain Stottlemyre throws it, and, because he's being kind of annoying with his stick. He's trying to learn how to use it. And that construction side, he is hitting everything. He drops it off the building, heads up, and he thinks he's going to fall off. He gets on the elevator and it shakes. He thinks he's going somewhere. He beats the guy with it. When he gets into that altercation, he's like, oh, God, and beats him with the sticks. That's cool. He ends up being happy about his blindness.
And at the end, he shoots someone, right?
Does he shoot someone? Oh my gosh, you're so right.
Someone.
That was really good. That is one of my favorite scenes.
Kind of blind, and then he's just like, oh.
And the guy is trying to trick him because he knows that he can't see, but he doesn't know that Monk's gaining his sight back. So he's trying to throw things across the room so that Monk will point the gun over there. But then Monk starts getting his vision back, and then he's like, boom, and shoots him right in the chest. Oh my gosh, that was so good. I totally forgot about that.
Man.
That is so
I don't know if he
good.
So number 8.
And the drifter's face.
Oh, he feels the drifter's face.
That's a really popular saying. On my worst day, I can always say that at least I never felt the drifter's face.
That's true. Okay, so number 8 is the actor. This was number 2, right? On Shirley's.
Yes, it was number 2. That's correct.
I knew it. So it's great. It's not too great.
I think what did we not like about it that it would take it down from such a high point?
I think the weirdness of the actor being so into, character that he somehow knew everything about Monk.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, we talked about that.
It just didn't make sense.
Yeah, that's true. It was cool that they had I actually like this in other shows. I like the storyline where you get to see other actors playing the characters, right? Mm-hmm. So they're getting a movie made about them. So that's cool for them that somebody wants to make a movie about them. But then also we get to see fake Natalie, fake Monk, fake Stottlemyre, and of course, fake Randy.
Yeah.
And then we see them making out. And that is amazing. And so they're like, that did not happen. Not even once. So good. That is so funny. And then I love, of course, it's a gift and a curse. It's a gift and a curse. curse. No, not like that.
It's a gift.
It's a gift and a curse. It's a gift. It's a gift.
It's
Natalie? Natalie?
Natalie?
Say it into my ear.
It's a gift.
So funny. And then he's like, Natalie, what's wrong? And she's like, I don't know, Mr. Monk is kind of getting a little intense in there. It's gift and a curse. It's so good. The actor's really funny. It is really funny.
The one scene where everyone is like, it takes a scene out of The Astronaut, but it wasn't really even a scene.
Oh, yeah,
right?
yeah.
So, I recently watched Avatar: The Last Airbender. It's this show. It's about this kid, and he's stuck in an iceberg for like 100 years, and this girl and her brother find him, and they're like, holy crap, right? It's not important, but basically on like the second to last episode, they have a like episode exactly like this. Not exactly like this, but it just like kind of recapped the entire series.
Of this one or The Astronaut?
The
actor.
Like in one of the, everyone's like complaining because it just makes fun of like all the characters, and they're all complaining like, I don't act like that. And it's super funny. And one of them like gets their like gender like switch, and she's actually like, I like it. It's really funny. I love it.
See, that's what I'm saying. I love it when other shows do that.
Yeah.
You're like fake.
Like they take a poke at themselves.
Yes,
it's
exactly.
amazing.
I love that. So good episode. So we chose that one over Can't See a Thing for the number 8 spot over the number 9 spot. So both of these, our average is a 7.5 for these episodes, which I feel like they could be higher.
They could be higher.
Like I feel like that could be higher, right? Okay. Number 7 is going to be
the class
Mr. Monk.
reunion.
Yep, and the class reunion. Yeah.
That one's okay.
This is one of my favorite plots ever. I love the suicide note. I love the dog, Tangerine. I love they make him go to Rocco's. I love those details because Monk gets to live, in his past, which, he liked with Trudy or whatever. But we get to see him in that element, but that whole story is setting up the summation. Whereas not every episode is like that, especially the ones that come out of like left field.
Yeah.
Everything we see to do with Monk has nothing to do with the plot, but every single piece, because this guy's literally piecing together this entire letter. Yeah. I love it. I think it's very clever. It's good. I think it's really cool. So I love the class reunion. I definitely gave this a higher rating. I rated this one a 9.25. So this one was on the very top of my list. So,
really?
Yeah, and you gave it a 7. So
that's actually really good.
Yeah. So made it in the number 7 episode. Also, I love Diane, right? She gave us the Sherry vibes, but she was married, so she was kind of an off-limits person for Monk. Yes. And she was so sweet. Like when I see this, when I start this one off, I'm like, oh, I like her. So I actually really like Diane. Of course, we have the 12:05. I love that reference. Like I said, expired at noon. Stottlemyre was at the riots. I love that. And then this is where we have all our Trudy flashbacks. So, like we said, we already mentioned where they meet for the first time, he gets her number, and then they say, I love you to each other. Aww. So, all of that happens in the class reunion. I love it. I think that's a great episode. I really do. I like it. I like it a lot.
Aw. It's very cute. Yeah, it's very cute. So, number 6 is Gets a New Shrink, where we see, the 5 stages of grief. It's very worthy of being up here, I think.
Yeah. As much as we've talked about the 5 stages of grief, yeah, I think so. We have some Harold action again. The whole stalking each other. They don't even understand how crazy they are, even though they're watching the other one of them do the exact same thing. Exactly. And they both think that each other is so intolerable. And it's so funny. It's so unself-aware of both of them to act this way. But it's hilarious. And then, of course, we see Harold take the bullet. And then we have the new shrink, like we said. Yes. Mr. Monk gets a new shrink, which we kind of discussed that the title is Gets a New Shrink. And doesn't really make... That's like a very small portion of the episode. Yeah. So it's more like Mr. Monk and Dr. Kroger quits.
Yeah, pretty much. I don't know. It could probably be worded better.
Yeah, but I can't think of anything, so I guess not.
Maybe that's a good.
Maybe it's a good one. Okay, let's go on to the next one, which is number 5.
We're top 5.
We are top 5. Mr. Monk meets his dad. Okay, this was another tie. This was our last tiebreaker. So we chose meets his dad over gets a new shrink. And we see, of course, Monk getting reunited with his dad. Like I said before, the carrots.
Very cute.
And they get to ride in the truck together. And they have the little montage where they're all happy. And he gets to ride his bike at the end. And for me, the highlight for this one, because honestly, I tore Jack Monk up in this episode.
Yeah,
like, I gave him a really hard time. But what I enjoy about this episode is not necessarily the Jack Monk aspect, because he is such a big portion. It's the acting in this one for me.
Yeah.
Tony Shalhoub knocks it out of the park. His portrayal of someone whose dad is acting that way towards them, who left them and came back, is so good. Mm-hmm. It's so realistic. It's so good. He's like, you want me to call you dad? But yeah, everything, his acting is just spot on. So realistic for, don't wave at me like that. Don't wave at me. And then he waves, of course. And then Monk's just like crushed. It's really so good. It's so good. And then this is their Christmas one for this year.
Yes.
So last season we had Secret Santa, which that episode was really good. That was really good. But this one made the number 5 spot.
Yeah, so it's
fairly similar.
Not Secret Santa level.
Yeah.
But it's good.
Yeah, it's fairly similar.
Next we have number 4, Mr. Monk Makes a Friend, which, follows Monk and his new best friend, Hal.
His new pal, Hal.
Which is really sad, but it's also very good, and you see what it would be like to be friends with Monk, like, other than work.
That's a good point. I don't think I've ever even said that before. That is a good point. We see Giddy Monk, right? Like we discussed.
Yep.
We see him at the hockey game. We see the phone call, and it's really sad. But Monk has friends. I feel like we talked about this one because we talked about it in the beginning, so we won't spend too much time on it. But a solid episode. We see him. One thing we didn't talk about was when he gets jealous. He walks up to that guy and he's super jealous of him hanging out with Hal, and he's like, "Oh yeah, what are some of his shirts that he has? I can name them. The turquoise shirt, the yellow one, and the one he's wearing now." Like, what? Monk is so obsessed with him. It's sad, but it's also like it's funny because at this point we know that Hal's a bad guy. So it's like we don't really care that Monk's being so desperate because we're like, yeah, well, this isn't going to work out anyway. Now it's just funny that Monk is like, oh yeah, what kind of shirts does he have? Yeah. I know everything about him. He likes his burgers medium rare.
It's so cute.
So funny. But yeah, so that was our number 4 episode, and we're on to our top 3 episodes.
Okay, I haven't even seen these. You haven't revealed these to me yet.
Oh, okay. So number 3 is Mr. Monk and the Big Game.
Well deserved, honestly. 3rd episode, 3rd best.
Oh, that is very true. That is true. I want to see. I'm interested. Where did Shirley put this one? It's probably not very high. Mr. Monk. Oh, it's number 6.
Oh.
Number 6. Not bad. Not bad. Okay. Oh, my goodness. Look. She put the really dead guy, number 5.
Really?
Yeah. She liked that one. That's interesting. Yeah.
In front of the Big Game? How dare you? Julie's favorite.
What the heck?
Come on.
Yeah, so it's Julie. It's Julie's favorite. Emmy Clark's favorite. Right? So it's got to be our number 3 episode. Coach Monk. Whistling. Backup whistle. Yeah. His whistling is incessant. I love it. He's so proud of the girls. He's so proud to be a coach, which I can completely relate with. I love this basketball episode. Obviously, again, I'm coach. So this is one of my top. I'm glad that this made it into the top. If At Your Service couldn't make it, I'm glad this one is up here. And yeah, he finally gets his trophies, and he's just a proud. He's a proud. It's coach.
Very sweet.
I feel like this is very similar. Not, I don't say very similar, but Mr. Monk gets a kid.
Same energy. Same
I like when we get to see Monk be a father figure. Yeah. Like we have these small scenes with like him and Benji where he's like being a father figure. And then, we get some of that with him and Julie, a little bit more with Benji. But I feel like this entire episode is like that. Even though he wants to charge the girl $67 for the case. He doesn't want to do it. He doesn't want to do it on the house, but still, you know, the overall like, okay, let me help the girls, and then once he gets the assistant job, he's so proud. I just love it. I love this one so much.
It's really cute.
So. All right, number 2.
Number 2 is Mr. Monk, the garbage strike, the one where, you know, he goes crazy. There's garbage everywhere.
Yes.
And he just wants to leave. He wants to get out of San Francisco. And he solves the case in like 10 seconds as soon as he gets somewhere clean.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Of course, like we talked about the Alice Cooper summation, crazy.
Of course.
And do you remember Monk's plans?
No.
Yeah, his plans to burn the city of San Francisco.
Oh, yes, of course. He just burned down the entire city and then rebuild it.
And then, what did he say? Burn the ashes too?
Burn the ashes too, and then just start it from scratch.
Start from scratch. And then his other plan is to...
One bag at a time, one truck at a time, one bag at a time.
And then what's he going to do with the trucks?
He's going to drive them into the coast.
Into the bay.
Into the bay.
Drive them into the bay and then get another truck and do the same thing. Oh, and then, of course, we have the GG.
It's for the GG. Come on, Natalie.
And then he has to tell Stottlemyre later. He's like, it's for the GG. What? It's greater good.
I quote that on a daily basis. It's for the GG.
And of course, Natalie comes through because she makes him. This is where we get the shot of her putting her hands up because she's like, "No, you didn't solve the case. So you didn't do the hands thing."
You didn't do the hands.
And yeah, that's so cute. I love that.
That is really cute.
And then the final scene of the confetti. And Monk is so happy to see his garbage men back. And he's throwing the confetti in the air. And like, woohoo! And then they pick up the garbage and he's like, hey, whoa, you didn't clean up the confetti. He's like, well, if I knew you were going to pick it up, I wouldn't have done it in the first place. I love the confetti. It's so funny.
Amazing. Okay.
Number 1 episode.
Guys.
Do you want to give us, Toby, drum roll? Mr. Monk is on the air.
Okay. Well deserved.
Yeah.
This is a good episode.
It was towards the end of the season, too.
Uh-huh.
And because I think, like, most of these were... Because the Garbage Strike was the 2nd episode, and it got the number 2 spot, so same. The Big Game, and then the actor. The actor was kind of down there. But, nevertheless, this one was at the end of the season, and we were just, breezing through these episodes, and we were like, wow, that was really good.
Yeah.
So... It ended up claiming the number 1 spot.
Jangle me timbers.
It's Jangle My Tenders.
Jangle my tenders.
No,
that's
what Stottlemyre.
Stottlemyre's.
He's like, Jangle My Tenders. He's like, it's Jingle Me Timbers, sir.
Aww.
And that was another trivia question people got
Randy
wrong.
Sucks.
They said Jingle Me Timbers. I didn't know what it was. I still get it mixed up.
Aww.
So I just say Jangle My Tenders because I know that's right. And of course we have the Randy scheme that actually works when he goes to measure Little Willie's head. Mm-hmm. And
very, very Randy scheme. Like not the brightest. Doesn't work out too well.
But nobody else has a better idea.
Exactly.
Because it does work.
Yeah.
They need to know if the 8-inch window will fit Little Willie's head, and then he goes to put his hands around, and he's like, "Oh, okay, here we go, we got it." Stottlemyre's like, "Hey, whoa!" Distracts Little Willie for him. And then he gets the measurements. Natalie gets a tape measure. They measure it out. And then they realize that he couldn't have done it. So then that leads them to the dog. And, and then, of course, we have Super Monk, the sequel. He jumps over.
Oh, yeah.
Jumps over the table, attacking him.
Just attacks him. We love to see Tony just save people, attack people.
I wonder how they did that.
Whatever.
Because I think there was a stunt double in that one, too.
What?
I think so. I don't know. But you can tell Tony's jumping over the table at some point. Because, usually, this is what I think that they do. I think that usually the main actor does the stunt, like, one time.
And
then they use the stunt double whether they can to, like, piece together. That's what I think.
Yeah.
Obviously, they might do it a little bit more than one take to make sure they get it. But
then Natalie just got, like, yeeted, like, twice in that one episode where he just saves her. Or, no, he tackles the dude.
Yeah, he tackles the guy.
For some reason, I thought he, like, saved Natalie or something.
Yeah, no, he tackles the guy, and then he rolls around later, and they're like, "Where's Monk?" And then he comes up, and then he is covered in the paper with the glue. So, yeah, that's where we figured that out. But anyhow, so, yeah, Super Monk, of course, at the very end, Max Hudson's not laughing anymore.
Oh.
So
he got his revenge.
He got his revenge, though. So as sad as it is at the very end, Max doesn't know that he got to Monk.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we know that, and it's sad, but it's Trudy. Come on. All right, guys, that was our number 1 episode.
Jeez.
That is it. Where did Shirley put this one?
Or where did she put on there?
Oh, this one I thought this was interesting. She put it as number 14. She put it towards the bottom. Isn't that crazy?
Like, almost dead last. Really?
Isn't that crazy? So different opinions. I'm sure someone out there is going, really? Mr. Monk is on the air? I hated that guy. I hated blah, 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 blah. You know what I mean? So it's like,
so good.
It's just us. We thought it was great.
It's amazing.
I feel like we're solid with the garbage truck. I think most people like that episode, though.
Yeah. It'll never live up to the jury. I'm sorry.
Okay. So, yeah, that's actually my next thing. Compared to last season, what do we think?
No.
Last season was better.
Last season was so much
And I realized we didn't have a perfect score this season either. Last season, I think we had the jury duty was basically a perfect score. And then I think Mr. Monk Goes Home Again, both of us scored at a perfect score, so it got the number 1 spot. And then the jury duty, I scored at like a 9.5 or something, and you scored at a 10, and so it got the number 2 spot. So, yeah.
Dang.
So, yeah, in my opinion, season 4 is better than this season.
Guys,
but
season 6
is coming up, so
on the way.
It is imminently approaching.
I'm hype.
But this was a great season. Look how far we've come. Look what happened. For one, we got the Monk reunion.
Yeah, we did.
That happened during our season 5. Like, that was epic, and we're just waiting for that reboot.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like, we just need all this to blow over so that we can show them, like, yes, we're here for it.
Emmy.
Give us Monk.
Emmy, Kane, we know you're watching. We know you're listening. Come on.
That ship's probably sailed. But.
Yeah, probably. There's no way. There's no way they're watching.
Okay, so then also the Monk reunion had led us to our first collab with we did Tony Shalhoub Daily collab, right? About the Monk reunion. If you haven't checked out that episode or a Monk reunion episode, go check those out. They're on YouTube, you know. Or shout out. And then, of course, the biggest thing to happen to the Junk Monk podcast to date is our very first cast interviews with Emmy and Kane. That happened during season 5, y'all.
We were very... it's almost as if it was yesterday.
It
was like a week ago. But,
yeah, but for real, that happened during season 5, and look at all these fun things that happened, and that's awesome. That just makes me more excited for season 6 to see what goodness we can stir up.
I'm excited.
Yeah, so like that's it. Thank you, everyone, to all of our Instagram people, our new Monkers on the Facebook, our YouTube, our YouTubers out there, and I think we're done. Let's go eat some Panera.
Let's go eat some Panera.
And let's start season 6.
Honestly.
Because let's do it. And then, yeah, so we're going to sign off here, and
bye.
Hey guys, thanks for listening to the Junk Monk podcast. We'd love to hear from you, so please give us a 5-star review wherever you listen to podcasts. Also, follow us at Junk Monk Podcast on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube.
If you want to know more about Kandyce, she's at Hardens and Hardhats on Instagram. And if you want to know more about me, Noah L., subscribe to my vlog, Noah Hernandez, on YouTube. Also, you can leave us a voicemail at 323-366-0477 with your questions, comments, or just to show us some love.
Don't forget to catch up on Monk with Amazon Prime Video, and of course, subscribe to our show.
You'll thank me later.